Namaskar and welcome to Changemakers. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Independent, free, strong. Those are the words we often use to proudly define our nation. Freedom is precious, but what is freedom without the ability to defend it? Today in Changemakers, we meet innovators who are securing India's defenses with indigenous technology. Artificial Intelligence in Defense exhibition in Delhi showcased state-of-the-art technologies. The best part about them, they were all made in India. Our innovators are also securing the nation through indigenous technology, from advanced drone systems in the sky to state-of-the-art cutting-edge deployments under the ocean to threat detection and identification systems. These innovations and these innovators are making India safer, stronger and self-reliant. The first ever Artificial Intelligence in Defense exhibition and symposium in New Delhi brought diverse innovators and innovations on the same platform, an exciting combination of cutting-edge technology and Made in India tag. Our first changemaker, Zupa GeoNavTech, has been a trailblazer from the early days of emergence of drones globally. Based in Chennai, one of India's only deep tech company that has developed its own proprietary core computing architecture, Zupa's DPCC or Disseminated Parallel Computing and Control is core electronics control architecture for 5th generation technologies and is key to the evolution of IoT, connected mobility, unmanned systems like drone, real-time, low-latency image systems. Zupa has a diversified portfolio of products and applications that have been built around its core DPCC technology that include electronic control, electronic vision, data acquisition systems. The company is working with DRDO, defense PSUs and others for unmanned system projects by providing them with secure, fully Atmanirbhar motherboards like Navgati Autopilot and Drishya for vision systems. Zupa is set to launch India's first and only commercial off-the-shelf drone, Ajit Mini, to replace unsecure and data-vulnerable Chinese drones. Talking about our next changemaker, at Altair Infrasec in Pune, some of the world's brightest minds are collaborating to develop disruptive technologies that hold the promise to revolutionize our armed forces across 3 domains: deception, deployment and detection. In the deployment domain, the team has designed a portable road. The lightweight polymer mat serves as a portable, relocatable road. When laid out on sand, it can support the weight of 25 to 30 metric ton vehicles. The roadway is one of its kind in the world and has tremendous potential across civilian and defense markets and can be used for building temporary roads in inaccessible areas such as border areas. In the detection domain, the company is working extensively in the field of underwater domain awareness. The complexities of ocean are manifold and diverse, and this requires multiple engineering disciplines. The challenge is building a system that is able to collect, process, analyze, differentiate and decipher multiple signals emanating from varied sources including seismic, geophysical, marine life and mechanical noises. Our third changemaker, 3Frame Software Labs, is a Bangalore-based technology and product development company. It provides cutting-edge technology solutions to enterprise customers based on machine learning, deep learning, IoT, digital transformation and enterprise integration. Sentinel is a recent success story of these solutions. It is a sophisticated threat detection and tracking solution based on deep learning and video analytics. This solution uses video feed from CCTVs to identify, classify, monitor and track threats. Threat could be any miscreant, terrorist, antisocial elements. Sentinel employs complex technologies involving weapon detection, gait analysis, behavior analysis, emotional analysis, gesture analysis, among other techniques. The solution is equipped to give early warning on the attacks before they occur. The technology also tracks and traces the threat across multiple CCTVs. It is backed by a powerful advanced anomaly detection engine to identify and predict possible threats and attacks. Those were some fascinating innovations. Let's now meet our changemakers, learn more about their work, vision, and technology. Let me welcome Venkatesh Sai, co-founder Zupa Geo Navigation Tech, Anup Anand, founder Altair Infrasec, and Ramakrishna, co-founder 3Frame Software. We learned about the amazing innovations by your enterprises. A warm welcome to Changemakers. Now, your work was part of the 75 unique technologies on display at the AI in Defense exhibition. If you can share with us first your experience and how do you also see such initiatives and evolution for India's defense sector? Venkatesh, if I can come to you first.
So, yes, the experience was actually quite exciting, and also seeing the level of interest that government agencies as well as the forces in general have towards innovative products which are manufactured as well as designed and manufactured in India, where the IPs exist within the country. So there is a lot of interest, and I would see there's a slow shift also in terms of ideology, where previously there was a kind of an apprehension towards the homegrown product, saying whether it would be able to meet such certification standards, whether it would work in field conditions. But I think after obviously a number of trials with companies like us, the defense ecosystem has come to an understanding that yes, there exists a lot of capabilities within the country to indigenize a number of items. And that is an evolution. That's a major evolution that we have seen. I have personally seen in the thought process of the ministry, where there's a proactive outreach towards indigenization, and it's just not some kind of ad hoc type of a concept which exists. And actually, it has started translating a little slower than everybody expected. But it has started translating into revenues, into opportunities for companies like us, startups and MSMEs like us who are in the space.
Oh, I think it's everything to reiterate whatever Venkatesh is saying. I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing an evolution. We've been seeing the evolution, but I think now we're going to begin to see the revolution. Yes. Because I think the power of the Indian entrepreneur is that if you give the Indian entrepreneur, you give him certainty, you give him opportunity, and you give him a level playing field. I think it's only a matter of time that we will see homegrown unicorns and decacorns in the defense sector.
Yeah, it's really exciting actually. So we understand the amount of scope, the industry is open, the defense industry is open for this. So just to give some perspective from our side, like in fact, we are in the deep learning since past a couple of years, but the amount of, let's say, interest shown from this particular event is really exciting for us. Earlier, we used to have some, let's say, some inhibition to adapt to the new technologies, but from this exhibition, from this particular event, so we can select, and there's much more openness from the industry and from the other defense, particularly the forces as well, to adapt to the latest innovative technology like this.
Right. Let's now talk about your individual enterprises and the work that you do. Venkatesh, if you talk about Zupa Geo Navigation Tech, you take drone technology to the next level, really, the electronic control systems, advanced data, image processing. Tell us a little more about your work and the journey of your enterprise.
So as a company, we started with the ideology that we want to do something different, and it came up with the fact that we started off in the aerospace sector, working with PSUs like HAL and MOD agencies like DRDO and others, and we came to identify that for any unmanned system, whether it be a battle tank or whether it be a drone, a control system is very important. And we're not just talking about a regular, input output type of control system. We're talking about an intelligent AI based control system. So we came to say that, what are the kind of competition? And when we look at the defense sector, we only find handful of companies, around 12 companies, worldwide, who have what we call as autopilots and flight control systems, FCS. So we said, this is a future technology that more as a passion from within myself, I felt we should have control over, because obviously, today drones are playing a major, role in warfare situation. Not only drones,
Right.
Unmanned tanks. Like we had worked on a project where we had been able to automate a main battle tank in an unmanned format. So yeah, so this is the core area that we focused on, saying that we need to get into control systems, and our core forte is basically intelligent, what we call as fifth generation control systems for unmanned vehicles. We have done it even for air, ground, as well as surface vehicles, sea vehicles.
So Venkatesh, researching on your enterprise, we also saw how dominance of made in China electronics and products and components are there in the country. How important then it is also to sort of replace such imported technology with indigenous alternatives?
Yes. See, when we talk about COTS products, I'm just coming into the commercially off-the-shelf segment. See,
Sure.
today we have seen also in the the Russian and Ukraine war that on Su-27 flankers, because the GPS guidance system was not working, the pilots were using Garmin GPSs to guide them, guide the plane to the destination. So today COTS products is a reality where there are quite a few commercially off-the-shelf products which are available, which can be used in for defense purposes, and is being used, also exists. Now, yes, this has happened previously, and there has been a huge influx of, like for an example, the regular Chinese drones are being deployed in certain areas by the forces, unknowingly, knowingly, it has happened. So because of that, there is a national security threat in terms of data leakage, in terms of end-to-end integrity of information, in terms of an intelligence lapse. So that's where it also is pertinent not only to indigenous. Yes, the cutting edge technologies need to be indigenous, like AI on the edge, and see-through armor systems, and radar-based guidance systems, seeker modules, optical seeker modules. These are things that need to be indigenous. But at the same time, we also need to look at the products which are being used in a COTS format, off the shelf, and the data security implications of this. And yes, there is an opportunity where the forces have now come to realize that many COTS products with Chinese origins have quite a significant data security threat. And there also it presents an opportunity for the industry to take up certain niches. Like in our case, we have made a product called the Ajit Mini Drone, which in all ways is, it's a very small, compact, over-the-hill surveillance kind of product. But in our case, since the entire electronics and communication modules are made by us, we are able to offer end-to-end security to the user, as well as advanced features like AI-based vision tracking and these type of things. Yeah.
Right. Anup, if I can come to you, if you talk about Altair Infrasec. Now, deception, deployment, detection are core aspects of defense strategies. Your organization are creating solutions underwater, overland. Tell us about the innovations that you're working with and the work that your enterprise does.
Okay, thanks. So we're research focused, research based. We have a team of, I'd say, in excess of 30 to 40 doctoral and postdoctoral researchers working across multiple domains in these three areas. So the multidisciplinary engineering universe, spans acoustics, applied math, particle physics, data science, AI, electronics, signal processing, and the focus really is on building capability in these three areas: deception, detection, and deployment. On the detection side, what we're working on now is the underwater domain awareness space. Now, it's well known that we actually know more about the surface of Mars and the Moon than we know about the ocean, our own ocean floor. And we have 8,000 kilometers of coastline. So the ocean is the underwater is an extremely complex domain because you've got seismic noise, you've got mechanical noise, mammal, marine life, hydrological noises. So the idea is, how do you build, truly an artificial intelligence system that can collect, analyze, differentiate and decipher this data and make sense of it. And what we're working on now is on the hardware and the software side to build these, build this platform, build this engine that could give us situational awareness. So it's extremely complex because you're marrying completely disparate fields, disparate fields, and you're bringing them in together. So yeah, that's we've got a really smart bunch of people. I mean, we'd like to think some of the brightest people globally working on this problem.
Right, and Anup, looking at your work, I see that you're trying to fill in the gap areas as they exist in our defense infrastructure. But can these technologies be also applied in civilian context as well? Because a lot of technologies on land, under sea that you talk about seem relatable for civilian purposes as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the microwave came from the space program. The microwave, as we know it, came from the space program, and as we keep investing in these technologies, we will find spin-offs. I mean, to give you an example, we completed field trials for the Indian Army's Make 2 program under the Make in India procurement. The Make in India program, the Indian Army is looking to purchase upgraded assault trackway, which is basically a mat that allows for trucks to move in the desert. So we developed a solution that we believe is extremely cost effective. It took us 3 or 4 years to design it,
right.
A lightweight matting system. And we recently tested this in Rajasthan. In fact, we spent 4 months last year in 50+ degree heat testing this. The Indian Army tested this, and they drove 10,000 vehicles on it. And we were the only, the only product or the only prototype that worked. Now, something like this has huge applications, enormous applications on the civilian side, because we could lay temporary roads overnight.
Right. Ramakrishna, if you talk about 3-frame software and Sentinel in particular, which is an automated threat tracking and identification system, give us some insight into how it works and the diverse applications that we can see.
Yeah. So this Sentinel actually is in fact an offshoot of the technology that we have developed over the last couple of years. So what we kind of mastered the technology in getting the insights from the videos. So when I say insights, it could be as broad as finding a defect on a product. So for example, there's some 2 mm scratch on an insulator like this. It could be as simple as that, or it could be as complex as identifying a potential terrorist in a big crowd. Okay, so we kind of master technology, and then we kind of developed different solutions based upon this technology. So one of this outcomes of this is this Sentinel solution. So how it works is we just takes the normal CCTV camera feeds, and these camera feeds are fed through our deep learning engines. And that engine, we do a lot of, we extract a lot of insights from that. So it could be like an gait analysis, behavior analysis, emotion analysis, or use pose analysis. And also, in addition to that, we also got a very advanced, sophisticated anomaly detection engine. So just to give a simple example, there is some potential terrorist somewhere in the crowd, and his behavior looks pretty much different from the rest of the crowd. Of course, we as a rest of us, we may not observe it, but let's say if there's a security personnel, you can see the minute differences in his behaviors. So our system is able to pinpoint, accurately identify those small behavior changes, can track that particular threat. So when I say threat, it could be anything. So it could be a terrorist, or it could be a hybrid terrorist,
Right.
or it could be, let's say, antisocial element, anything also. And his identification is not only one aspect of it. Post identification, you might want to track it also. Let's say after some incident happened, then probably that particular threat, he might be even to, let's say, railway station or bus station. So you should be able to track him also. What is the movement he's taking it, right? What is the path he's following that? And also, that's where the prediction also comes in. What is the path he's taking it, so that you can probably take an appropriate steps to neutralize that. And in addition to that, what you have, probably sometimes you want to establish the network of this threat also, like to whom he is meeting and to whom he is interacting with, right? So it's about collecting the whole gamut of evidences and information, so that you can proactively work on this.
Right. And Ramakrishna, when we see your work, also the work of other enterprises, we see how artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning almost lies at the heart of these innovations. So they've also become very central to the developments that we're seeing in the defense sector. Also, are the threats also becoming technologically advanced? How do you see it?
Absolutely. I think that's where the beauty of this deep learning comes in. Okay, so as you're engaging, okay, so let's take one more simple example. So let's take a set of people, and the people got some set of experiences on their own, right? They use their experiences to enrich, let's say, their job profile like this. Now let me assume this, you're kind of imparting the experiences onto a machine now. Okay, and you got some 10 different people, and these 10 different people imparting the experiences collectively onto one machine. That means this machine got experience of 10 different people now, right? Still, there is a possibility tomorrow this system might miss some of those anomalies or some of those threats. So in this case, the system can learn, or we can train the system to identify those possibilities also.
Right. And as we come towards the conclusion of this conversation, one final thought from each one of you. We have these mega defense corridors coming up. There's so much emphasis on innovation. What is the future of indigenous defense manufacturing? And we've also been talking about one day India emerging as a leading defense exporter. What are your thoughts on that? Anup, if I could come to you first.
So I think for the last 75 years, any war, that's been fought by India, by the Indian Jawan, by the Indian soldier, has been fought wearing Swiss boots, firing German ammunition from a Swedish gun, within, Russian aircraft. I think that is going to change this generation is going to change that. And I think what the government is doing now, and I have to, to Mr. Jaju, to the DIO team, to the service headquarters, all the way up to our Honorable Prime Minister, I think they're driving this. And it's time for industry now to come together, to collaborate, and really equip our armed forces to fight the asymmetric wars of the future. And then we need tech for that, and we have the tech in the country. We have the talent for that. So very exciting.
Right. Venkatesh, your thoughts on the future of indigenous developments and technology in defense?
So it's not only that once the product reaches 100%, where it's been through the entire FET process, there is an evaluation process for a product to be deployed in the defense because of the various conditions that it needs to endure. So that does take time, and I don't think there is a method that they can fast track it all of a sudden. It will take a little more, few more years for them to create the infrastructure where private labs can do the equivalent testing as what CQI or any of the other government labs are currently having the capability to do so. But they are getting there, and there is a good emphasis on that. And in terms of exports, since you have talked about it, you see, already in the ITES and IT space, we are one of the largest exporters of softwares and SaaS platforms in the country. So I do not see defense as a different, ball game, because looking at, as everybody was talking about, and as we are seeing, AI as well as a number of software elements are being very essential today in the asymmetric warfare, as what Anup had mentioned. So there is a future, I would say, maybe in about 3-4 years, where we could see a strong export possibility for the industry, and that's what makes it very exciting.
Right. And Ramakrishna, your thoughts, road ahead for your enterprise and all innovators in this sector in particular.
Yeah. So we see a lot of potential for the artificial intelligence, particularly deep learning in the defense space. And at the same time, we also see a lot of offshoots of the same technology in the civilian space as well. So, what are the algorithms we kind of designed and, let's say, made for them? So we see a lot of use cases in the civilian space as well. But nevertheless, we see a lot of potential for exports as well. Because what the technology we're kind of mastering here, we see a lot of gaps in the prospective companies, including the US as well. So you can see in broad, we got all three angles, like defense in India and civilian worlds and export markets. So huge markets to tap.
Right. On that note, let me thank Ramakrishna, Anup Anand, Venkatesh Sai. Thank you very much for joining us in this conversation. Our best wishes to the exciting work that each of your teams are doing. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
It was great interacting with our changemakers. It's amazing how they're able to harness the power of technology to secure the defenses of the nation and also take it forward on the path of self-reliance. It's time to say goodbye, but I will return soon with more stories of agents of change. Till then, namaskar.